Investigative Report Special Edition, Inside the World of High School Football, will be seen on Friday at 9, 8 Central on A&E.
Gossip, Tabloid Tales, brought to you in part by Northland.
Some call them gossip.
Well, let's just see what's going on with old Jennifer Flowers today, or Monica Lewinsky, or Gary Condon.
Some call them news.
Our premise is that gossip is news. It's just sort of news that other papers aren't interested in reporting.
Others say they're just plain trash.
It's horrible. It's filthy. Sometimes you feel like taking a bath when you leave work.
They really don't care if they destroy one person's life.
For over a century, generations of scandal sheets have fed our endless public hunger for classified chatter and salacious stories.
Why has news been eaten up by gossip? How's gossip taken over the world?
I find it disgraceful that everyone knows everyone else's business today.
From the rags of classic Hollywood to the rumor mills of the internet, welcome to the glossy world of gossip. It's 5:50 a.m. Thursday, delivery day at newsstands across America. The publications being unpacked run the gamut from news to special interest to the kind of magazines that many people won't even admit to reading. They are the scandal sheets, sometimes called rags by the stars they dish, also known to the general public as the tabloids. They are the junk food of journalism, rich and spicy, but with little nutritional value, and the strong aftertaste of a guilty pleasure.
This is Erica.
According to the Audit Bureau of Circulations, which keeps track of such statistics, the total readership of all the current tabloids exceeds that of Time or Newsweek. But where readers accept and even rely on the truth of what they read in mainstream magazines, the truth of the items in the tabloids is, well, open to interpretation.
They write basically stuff to sell papers. Some of it's true and some of it isn't, you know. So it all comes down to what you choose to accept or what you choose not to accept.
I really think people look at the tabloids and they really want to find dirt on people. Our society is a society that wants to be famous. I mean, who amongst us does not wish they were a celebrity?
The fact is the tabloids have been very successful in this country. We once did focus groups asking people why they bought the tabloids. Their answers were very clear. They say, we buy the tabloids for fun.
Whether at the newsstand, on TV, or on the internet, the tabloid media differs from so-called serious journalism in some very specific ways. Of course, there's the traditional tabloid subject matter, stories you probably won't see anywhere else.
Celebrity weddings, UFOs, and, you know, human interest stories. Some of my old tabloid colleagues call these stories Hey Martha stories, because, you know, there's the guy, the couch potato, sitting there on the couch reading the Enquirer, and he comes across something, he says, Hey Martha, listen to this, you know?
Tabloid's instant hit. Give me an instant, it's like drugs, you know. Give me an instant hit of this. Oh my God, look what happened to her. Great, I feel better. Isn't that sick, that you feel better because of someone else's misery?
I'm sorry to say this, but, you know, people care more about Pam Anderson's breast implants than they do about the goodwill that Mother Teresa did in India. However, if Mother Teresa got breast implants, that'd be a big story. That'd be a headline, I think.
Finding those headline stories often means going above and beyond the methods employed by so-called serious journalists.
Tabloid reporters are the most aggressive reporters in the world. They will stop at nothing. They're like gunslingers. They will do stakeouts, they'll whip out the checkbooks, they'll whip out the cash.
The primary reason that the tabloids sometimes get stories that the mainstream misses is that they're willing to pay for information. And of course that mainstream frowns on that very much.
We've learned that money
You know, you shake a wad of money in front of anybody's face, it gets their attention. We did that in the Bill Cosby case when his son, Ennis, was murdered. And what did that lead to? It led to the police chief of Los Angeles standing up on national television and, God love him, saying it right in front. We have just made an arrest. We have a suspect finally in custody thanks to a tip from the National Enquirer.
But paying for information pales in comparison to some of the other antics of the tabloid press.
We're the bad boys. We're the ones that people hate to love.
Some of the crazy things I've done, of course, hanging out of helicopters, the aerial shots of celebrity homes. To some people, it seems pretty extreme. I've done it enough times that to me it's like driving to get a quart of milk.
I made love to a lot of publicists to get stories. And thank God they're very pretty.
When the founders of our country said freedom of the press, there were no 100-millimeter lenses that could catch you at a mile away.
The prime catches for those prying lenses are the cover girls and cover boys whose faces virtually ensure big sales.
The all-time favorite paparazzi subjects, the top 10 list. Number one answer on the board is probably Elizabeth Taylor.
Liz Taylor, over time, has just sold millions of papers for us.
For nearly 50 years, Elizabeth Taylor has reigned as the reluctant queen of the tabloids. An icon whose life is so intriguing, she just can't seem to keep it private.
It was like a soap opera. You couldn't write these stories. And why were people interested? Because it was fascinating.
I represent Elizabeth Taylor, and she's in tabloids every issue practically. And we just have learned to dismiss it. We just don't pay any attention.
I say to Liz Taylor, just like I say to all these celebrities, I mean, thanks a million.
But it's not just what the tabloids cover, it's how they cover it. Let mainstream media write the black and white news. The tabloids will take the same stories and add a splash of color.
There's certain conventions of tabloids, like you never have the word murder without saying brutal murder or senseless murder. Every woman is an attractive, blonde, curvy brunette. There's a way of making the story more interesting, which we're willing to do and some other papers aren't.
I think 25% of what's in the Scandal magazine is based on some kind of truth. All they do is get all the facts wrong.
But even if the story isn't accurate, you just gotta love those headlines.
The most famous headline of all, of course, was Headless Body and Topless Bar. And people think that that's sensationalistic, but that was actually a very accurate description of what happened.
I cut out her heart and stomped on it. I boiled my baby and ate it.
Jerry Ford to New York City, dropped dead. Chef cooks Thanksgiving turkey in his dishwasher.
My favorite tabloid headline, I watched a wild hog eat my baby. What else?
But a funny thing happened on the way to the checkout stand. In the past few years, even mainstream magazines seem to be jumping aboard the tabloid bandwagon.
There is no line drawn in the sand between what the tabloids cover and the mainstream media covers. In fact, I think that the tabloids have broken more stories that the mainstream media would have loved to have had.
I got news for you. The Enquirer stopped getting laughed at the very same time the O.J. Simpson trial broke. They broke almost every story.
There's certain subject matters that people are always interested in, whether they want to admit it or not. Sexual misconduct, scandals, a juicy crime story. People refer to all those as tabloid topics, but in fact, they're covered in every newspaper and every publication, probably except Field and Stream.
To look at the covers on America's newsstands, most of today's journalism could fairly be called voyeurism. Many newsmen and women decry this startling trend, claiming it's the beginning of the end of responsible reporting.
Come on. I mean, everyone has their flaws. But why do we have to print it? Now the tabloids are going to come after me, right? I'm kidding. Just a joke. I can handle it.
We didn't invent stories about people, the Bible did, and it's true. Go back and read the Bible, everybody, and you will see fascinating stories about other human beings.
People like to say that, what is it, prostitution is the oldest profession? Is that what they say? I don't think so. I think the oldest profession is gossip. Because I think when Adam had sex with Eve, he went and told somebody right away.
Coming up, the scurrilous origins of the original scandal sheets. We'll be back with more gossip, tabloid tales.
Medical studies suggest the cranberry juice cocktail with 27% cranberry juice provides you with important health benefits. If you prefer the taste of a blend but still want the health benefits of cranberry, look to Northland. All Northland blends have 100% juice, 27% of it cranberry. Northland says it on the label. No one else can say that. Others like Ocean Spray don't. Their cranberry juice content can be as little as 6%. Northland, always 100% juice and 27% of it cranberry.
My hands speak to me. They tell me secrets. They tell me of time and patience. At least, that is what my hands say. The all-new Lexus ES300, a new world of luxury.
I was looking to protect what I have and to achieve some modest growth. I knew I lacked investment skills, and I knew I needed professional assistance. Prudential gave me a good feeling that this guy or these people don't have an agenda of their own. There's a lot that I don't understand, but that's where I really lean more heavily on my advisor at Prudential. I'm impressed by their thoroughness, and I'm impressed by their detail. I think I found the right people.
You're just begging for heartburn, aren't you?
What are you doing?
Forget about these. Here, Norman turned me on to Pepsi Complete.
And?
And I tried one. One. That's all it took.
One?
Mm-hmm. Complete works fast like those, but lasts like those. Just one controls acid all day.
Lasts all day.
Nothing else like it. Where are you going?
Sausages, anyone?
Pepsi Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done.
Frank Gifford, Vince Lombardi, Walter Payton, Joe Montana, and Joe Namath. NFL Greats Week on Biography. All this week on A&E.
We now return to gossip, tabloid tales.
A lot of people think that gossip is a pretty much recent invention. That tabloids and the National Enquirer invented gossip, but it's just not true. Gossip has been around pretty much as long as people have been talking.
Do you know where the word trivia comes from? I'm going to tell you. All roads led to Rome. Where three roads came together, the tri-via, they would post bits of news, gossip, and information. Like, Julius Caesar just came back from doing it with Cleopatra. This is where the word trivia comes from, and that's about how long it's been around, like a few centuries.
If Shakespeare were alive today, this guy would be up in that garret writing a mile a minute. This is the stuff of life. It's death and birth and rage and passion and murder most foul.
Gossip. Sensationalism. From Roman rumor to Elizabethan innuendo, the dividing line between real news and scandal has always been a blurry one. As far back as the 1790s, America's founding fathers hijacked the press to further their political agendas. Alexander Hamilton actually founded the New York Post specifically to slander his rival, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was no marble statue either. He hired a corrupt reporter to plant stories about Hamilton, George Washington, and his former friend, John Adams.
The newspapers of the 19th century were very, very ribald, very aggressive. They loved crimes. They were all the time going after the affairs of politicians. Thomas Jefferson's affair with Sally Henning was reported in the papers at the time.
It is well known that the man, whom it delighteth the people to honor, keeps, and for many years past has kept as his concubine, one of his own slaves.
Even back then, there was a struggle going on between the so-called legitimate press and the salacious press.
Throughout the 1800s, publishers played tug-of-war with journalistic ethics as they worked to bring scandal to the masses. Benjamin Day, founder of the New York Sun, pioneered news for the lower classes by selling his paper for a penny instead of the usual 6 cents. He also perpetrated one of the first great tabloid hoaxes, a 4-part series in August of 1835 describing amphibious creatures who lived on the moon. Obviously, there's nothing new under the sun.
The so-called penny press of the 1830s was the real beginning of sensationalism and what I'd call popular journalism. They introduced the concept of the human interest story, which was exactly what its name implied, a story that was interesting to human beings.
By the 1890s, the legendary Joseph Pulitzer's New York World thrived on murder and mayhem. But it was arch-rival William Randolph Hearst and his evening journal who spun the search for scandal into a frenzy. Journal reporters were dubbed the Murder Squad, and they often beat the police to clues and gory details.
People wanted to read the nitty-gritty about murder cases, not just how some guy slashed some other guy to death with a razor blade, but how the police went about investigating it and what the testimony in court said. For so long, the mainstream media were not going into these, these details.
Details like the private lives of the high and mighty also offered glimpses of scandal for Hearst's peep show publishing. When an 1897 stag party attended by New York's elite was broken up by police because Little Egypt was performing her obscene belly dance, the journal's pages overflowed with coverage of the event. But all this scandal-mongering was a mere prelude to Hearst's most ambitious campaign. He raised the stakes in the scandal sheet game when he helped to start a war.
There's no question in my mind that William Randolph Hearst engineered the Spanish-American War. And he did it through repeated sensational headlines about Spanish atrocities against the people of Cuba and building public sentiment to the point where when the battleship Maine blew up in Havana Harbor, now nobody has ever determined what caused this explosion. But there was no question in the mind of any regular Hearst reader that the dirty Spaniards had done this and that we got to go down there and clean their plow.
By the end of the war in 1898, the journal's circulation had climbed to well over 1 million. An editorial written by Hearst himself boasted, "The force of the newspaper is the greatest force in civilization. The newspapers control the nation because they represent the people." It was around this time that the scandal sheets took on a new name, one which even today implies sensational media. The term was tabloid, but it originally had nothing to do with the paper's content.
You know, I get a little bit tired of the word tabloid reporting. You know, the word tabloid came simply because a tabloid was half the size of the broadsheet, the regular sheet. The word tabloid somehow got associated with something that was less than pure journalism, which is absolute rubbish. I mean, absolute rubbish.
As the 1920s dawned, New York City was a humming metropolis whose populace craved entertainment even from their newspapers. Jazz-age journalism flourished in tabloids like the New York Mirror, the World, and the Daily Graphic, aptly nicknamed the Daily Pornographic. In a city of 5 million people, it was estimated that nearly half read the tabloids. One critic remarked, "It is difficult to believe that 1/2 of the population of the world's greatest metropolis is 100% moron." From murder trials to movie stars' funerals, The tabloids used any method to lure readers.
The newspapers were very aggressive back then because there were so many of them. And that's something that you'll find in history, is the more news outlets there are, the more gossip appears.
Scandal sheets had always flaunted eye-catching visuals. Old-fashioned hand-drawn illustrations of the 1900s gave way to a brash new art form, the tabloid photo. Graphic crime scenes, dismembered bodies, morgue photos, all were fair game. And when the real thing wasn't available, reporters would carry props and fake their photos. Publisher Bernard McFadden even created the predecessor of today's computerized photo hoaxes. Pictures that had been pasted together, which he called composographs. But one of the era's most chilling tabloid photos was all too real. When convicted murderess Ruth Snyder was to be executed in the electric chair, a New York Daily News photographer strapped a camera to his leg and snapped a photo just as the switch was thrown.
Of course, the picture was the entire front page of the Daily News the next day. It just stunned everybody.
Throughout the roaring 20s, scandal sheets were a part of America's daily life and had evolved into a new kind of news, one which entertained rather than informed. Coming up, America's first gossip columnist is the toast of the town, but quickly becomes drunk on power. Gossip Tabloid Tales will return here on A&E.
Like every Subaru, the Forester comes with all-wheel drive standard. The Ford Escape doesn't. The Forester comes with ABS standard. The Escape doesn't. And in independent crash tests, the Forester received the highest rating. The Escape was rated simply marginal.
Nice car.
What do I look like? A dummy?
Subaru Forester, a smarter way to build an SUV.
Now you can get an APR as low as 2.9% on all 2002 Forester models.
I'm not afraid to shine, and I owe it all to Superior Preference by L'Oreal, the translucent fade-resistant hair color. See, Preference Gel seals in true living color, color that won't fade out. That's why the shine really lasts, with 6 weeks of Super Shine conditioning. How brilliant is that? So wave bye-bye to Brassy, so long to Mousy, and say hello to a lot more shining moments. Superior Preference by L'Oreal Paris. Fade-resistant color that shines, because you're worth it.
On the next investigative reports, two teams.
I've been raised to play football and win state championship.
Worlds apart.
I pray every night just to make sure I wake up the next morning.
Go for the glory and a better life.
I'm trying to go to college.
Inside high school football, an all-new 2-hour investigative report special edition. Friday on A&E.
There's a power sweeping the nation. People everywhere are getting things done. And it's all thanks to DIY.
I'll just do it myself.
From thought to finish, our easy-to-follow instructions are just a click away.
So, what's next?
When you want something done right, do it yourself with DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
Time Warner Cable, the very best in TV, keeps getting better.
Are you ready for high-speed internet access? Introducing AOL High-Speed Broadband, now available with Time Warner Cable. We're talking fast. Everything you love about America Online. Email, instant messages, parental controls.
Click, you're there.
Get your favorite music, videos, and games at lightning speed. Not just broadband, AOL High-Speed Broadband. Call toll-free 1-866-718-7907 or go to America Online keyword cable. Call today and get free installation, free activation, and a free modem to use. America Online, so easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Gossip Tabloid Tales now returns. Today, the relationship between the scandal sheets and Hollywood can be summed up in one word: chaos. The hunger for celebrity has become a feeding frenzy, and the big fish are the prey.
Gossip columnists, it's a free-for-all. You get as close to the bone as you possibly can, and the more people you get angry, the better.
Behind every star, there's a Teflon lining in the form of a publicist hired to handle the press. These public relations spinmeisters had their protective paws full, safeguarding their clients from the prying eyes of the press, no matter what they might have done behind closed doors.
Celebrity as we know it is a 20th century phenomenon, which was brought about by movies. So as soon as movies came along, not long after that, columns came along discussing movie stars. And the person who's credited with starting the gossip column as we know it is Walter Winchell.
Winchell was a former vaudeville performer who had an ear for celebrity gossip. In 1924, he was hired by the New York Globe to write a column on the bustling Broadway scene. Untrained as a journalist, Winchell wrote the gossip and hearsay he picked up from hanging around Broadway, often without bothering to check his sources. Established journalists were horrified, but readers were hooked.
He was the first. He was the first to come out and make his little items, as he put them, about very famous people. He had a very clever way of combining words and of creating new words.
Winchell's witty wordplay gave gossip a new grammar. Parents expecting a new baby were infanticipating. A couple in love were said to be that way, on the verge, sealed, or even simply uh-huh. What few knew was that slang was Winchell's way of sliding around the libel laws. No one could sue a newspaper for being called uh-huh.
When Walter Winchell began his tabloid reporting in the 20s, he said the way to become famous is to throw a brick at somebody famous. And that's exactly what he did.
New York City of the 1920s was full of targets for Winchell's bricks. Broadway was booming. Speakeasies were open all night and colorful characters abounded. In his search for juicy items, Winchell prowled New York and employed a network of informants to report on the private lives of what was then called cafe society. Readers who might earn $25 a week could enjoy the exploits of millionaires. Winchell's column created a bridge between the masses and the elite.
I think there's always curiosity as to how the other half lives. You wanted to know, how do the rich live? How do the famous live? What do they have that I don't? Do they have the problems that I have?
In 1930, Winchell parlayed his popularity into a new medium, radio. Millions of Americans who had religiously read his column could now enjoy his manic, rapid-fire delivery. The scandal sheets had officially taken to the airwaves.
Flash, Washington. When he learned that Nancy-New dealer Howland Spencer sold 500 acres near Hyde Park to Father Divine's Angels, intimates say that FDR smiled and said, well, it is good to know we will have some nice neighbors for a change.
In January 1935, those listeners were treated to a barrage of Winchell's opinions on what was then called the trial of the century. In 1927, aviator Charles Lindbergh had been one of the earliest media darlings when he made the first transatlantic flight. 8 years later, this private man would find his life splashed across the scandal sheets when his infant son was kidnapped and murdered. Bruno Richard Hauptmann stood accused of the crime, and over 300 journalists converged on the trial. But it was media-savvy gossip columnist Walter Winchell who would ultimately upstage his more experienced contemporaries.
It is the most dramatic story I've ever covered. And I'm very happy over the privilege of being permitted to sit with the newspapermen at the Flemington Courthouse.
Winchell used both his column and radio show to proclaim Hauptmann's guilt. By the time the verdict came in, the jury agreed.
At 9 o'clock, from the courthouse comes a bulletin from news reporter Robert Conway.
Hello, Ed. It's Death. Let him roll.
On April 3rd, 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann went to the electric chair. The scandal sheets finally had an ending to the story. Some called it the first trial by newspaper. The Lindbergh trial made Walter Winchell a household name in America. Unfortunately, the fame went directly to Winchell's already oversized head. In addition to gossip, Winchell began loudly voicing his political views, including fanatical support of FBI head J. Edgar Hoover. Winchell's roughhouse reporting gained him many enemies, and soon he set another scandal sheet precedent. He became the first gossip columnist to carry a gun.
Gossip is like a drug. I think when you have a column and you want to write about movie stars and you run around town, it really is a drug.
As Winchell mainlined gossip, his power increased. His radio show tied Bob Hopes as the most popular. Thanks to a few inches of newsprint, this insecure, uneducated man was hobnobbing with stars and swaying public opinion. Winchell had officially risen to being the most feared man in the media. Once, when he reported that Betty Davis had cancer and she publicly denied it, a press agent commented, "I don't know if Betty Davis has cancer or not, but she better get it."
You can attack the mayor in your column. You can attack every kind of big, highfalutin person. You have huge men, very powerful women and men calling you for favors. I'm sorry. When I was a gossip columnist, I thought I knew what power was. But then when you have your own column in New York City, and New York City reads your words, and when you see your page opened up in subways, there's nothing stronger. There's nothing stronger. Everybody fears you, and everybody loves you at the same time.
In the Cold War years of the early 1950s, America's fear of communism neared paranoia. High-profile stars appeared before Congress. Politicians railed endlessly, and wrapped in the American flag, Winchell took to his soapbox.
Mr. Bashinsky, I do not flatter myself that you intended to attack me personally. You struck back at a member of the American press because there is nothing in the world that you and Mr. Stalin and Mr. Molotov and Mr. Gromyko fear more than a man with a free typewriter or microphone.
But Winchell wasn't looking for Russian communists. He was using his typewriter and microphone to hurl accusations of communism at Americans, including Josephine Baker and TV's favorite redhead, Lucille Ball.
He was communist baiting. He was trying to destroy people's lives. He really abused his power, and I think that every publisher in America knew it.
It's a lot of fun making people mad, Winchell once said. If that's true, then by the 1960s, Winchell should have been deliriously happy. Instead, where he'd once been on the cutting edge of scandal, his style now seemed dull. His values a part of the past. After an unparalleled 40-year reign as the king of scandal, Walter Winchell found himself yesterday's news.
In 1971 or 72, just about the time I joined the Inquirer, Walter Winchell, once the most powerful journalist in the world, gossip columnist, I mean, kind of the guy I wanted to be, you know. 400 newspapers he had his column in. Walter Winchell put an ad in, I think it was Variety, out here in Hollywood, asking if anybody would please pick up his column.
Winchell was not the only gossip columnist to rise to national prominence. Though he'd invented the tabloid vendetta, two Los Angeles ladies with heavy Hollywood connections would perfect it. Their names were Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons.
I would say they were just insanely powerful. They had these stars terrified.
When gossip tabloid tales continues, even the mighty movie studios can't protect their stars from scandal. We'll be back with more gossip, tabloid tales.
Nothing like the open road.
Yeah, too bad we're out of gas.
Oh, somebody's coming. Hey, buddy, how about a lift?
No riders. Not even for $1? $1 don't buy much, mister.
It does if you dial 10-10-220.
Yeah, all calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
Yep, and 7 cents a minute after 20.
20 minutes or 99 cents? You bought yourself a ride. You gotta sit in the back.
Great trip. Oh, be quiet.
Dial 10-10-220.
My hands speak to me. They tell me secrets.
tell me of time and patience. At least, that is what my hands say. The all-new Lexus ES300, a new world of luxury.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, these people were like family to me. Remember I met Jeannie at the company picnic?
It was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, taking the new job was a tough decision.
I miss you.
Deciding what to do with my 401k money was another. I didn't want to mess it up. I called T. Rowe Price.
Deciding how to roll over your 401k can be confusing. Everything from choosing different investment options to understanding the tax implications. Call the rollover specialists at T. Rowe Price. We can help.
You know, you told me about the mutual funds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, they sent me a rollover kit, you know. Took me through it step by step.
I made it easy for you.
Yeah, piece of cake.
By providing a full range of mutual fund options, we can help you create an investment plan that meets your needs.
It's going to be a good job.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years. For a free rollover kit and prospectus, call the rollover specialists at 1-800-341-5596.
Remember when they seemed larger than life? You wished for the whole story, and we came along.
Happy birthday, biography.
Happy birthday, biography.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, biography.
Happy birthday, biography.
Happy birthday, biography. 15 years, so many lives. You think you could have got to me by now.
The series that changed the way you look at people celebrates 15 years. Biography, weeknights at 8, 7 Central on A&E.
We now return to gossip tabloid tales here on A&E. Back in the early 1900s, the movie studios maintained iron-fisted control over every aspect of publicity. The tabloids had yet to realize the mother lode that could be mined from a single cinema scandal. That's why the headlines spinning out of San Francisco in September of 1921 were so earth-shaking. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, one of the screen's most popular comedians, was accused of raping and murdering a starlet during a booze-filled party. William Randolph Hearst took the scandal and ran with it, printing up to 7 extra editions a day.
At the end of the trial, he was acquitted, but there was so much publicity about Fatty Arbuckle that it ruined his career.
Arbuckle was the movie's first tabloid victim, but he wouldn't be the last. Within months, other scandals erupted, and the yellow press pounced. It was obvious that the studios needed a well-oiled publicity machine, one that projected only the right kinds of imagery to the insatiably hungry press. By the early 1930s, that machine was in full gear.
They controlled what you did at the studios. They don't control it today. The studios handle the publicity for you. They taught you how to dress and who you'd go with to the premieres and who you'd date, who you wouldn't date.
Get back, young lady, get back.
You have to watch out who you talk to and who you see.
That's the first time I've ever been.
Everybody was used to that. They knew that was part of the picture business and show business. I tried to watch my speech very carefully.
I'm practically speechless. It's a wonderful surprise to know that I've been chosen king of the movies. It's really an honor to be mentioned in the same breath with Miss Betty Davis, and I want to thank you a lot.
The studios controlled the stars because they were under contract. And if a star had a problem, there was no problem. That was taken care of. You never heard about it. We controlled the press.
One way the studios exercised control was by feeding items to the 2 preeminent Hollywood gossip columnists of their day, Luella Parsons and Hedda Hopper. Studio heads had hoped the 2 Hollywood-friendly reporters would act as mere mouthpieces, but it turned out they had mouths and minds of their own.
They became so powerful that the studios couldn't control them. And they began to control the studios, and they had become the Frankenstein monsters who had run amok and taken Hollywood captive.
Luella Parsons was perfectly suited to her position as a Hearst employee. Her regard for the truth was as sincere as her smile.
In person, person, Luella was a real sweetie. She was sort of a fat, doughy, matronly kind of little woman who was very sweet and fluttery.
Hedda Hopper, a frustrated actress, was known for both her acid wit and outrageous hats.
This is Hedda Hopper reporting to you from Hollywood, that fabulous place where everyone wants to live but seldom does.
Hedda and Luella were both very much extensions of the studio publicity machine. Part of the reason for their astonishing power is because we didn't have television, so the public turned to Hedda and Luella to find out what was going on in Hollywood.
Hedda and Luella reflected the image that Hollywood struggled to project during the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The sanitized values of a cookie-cutter American dream. At the same time, the two power gossips competed viciously with each other for stories. And neither was above using her column to enhance a star's reputation or to tarnish it.
They did amazing things like lecture people, you know, about their morals. Luella would write, "Dear Clark Gable, you can't possibly go on seeing Carol Lombard when you're still married. This isn't right."
Each of them had nearly 1,000 newspaper columns. Now, to compare, Liz Smith, who is without question the predominant gossip columnist of our day, is in about 70.
A lot of Luella and Hedda stuff came from famous people directly who just would call them up. They knew if they were pregnant or going to get married, they'd better tell one of them.
Silver screen romances, real or imagined, were used to promote careers. When Luella broke the story of Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds' romance in 1955, tabloids around the world breathlessly exploited the relationship.
There was huge pressure from the press and basically the fan magazines. The fan magazines did become a member of our family. We had great exposure. I mean, we were all over every magazine, every newspaper. And she was the girl next door, I was the boy next door, and we went along with it. Then when we started thinking that it wasn't all true, we did a lot of posing. The truth was not really important, it was the image.
It served the studios, it served the gossip columns, and in a bizarre way, it served the public that wanted to believe in this perfect world. In truth, there were actual crimes that were being covered up at the time, and just incredible hypocrisy. The gossip columnists knew very well what was going on, and they wouldn't write it, and the public was completely in the dark about the truth.
This void of truth was filled by Confidential magazine. Making its debut in December of 1952, Confidential was the brainchild of publisher Robert Harrison, a former New York Mirror tabloid reporter.
He looked sinister. He fit the stories that he was doing, you know.
While Hedda and Luella relied on the studios for their stories, Harrison was beholden to no one. He relished digging up the kind of sleazy back alley rumors that the studios spent so much money and time in burying. Some of the stories were innuendo, some were out-and-out lies, but many were true and potentially disastrous for the stars involved.
I was shocked by Confidential because the 50s were still a time when people were still shocked by things.
It changed the rules of the media. All of a sudden, the stars were no longer safe. Their peccadillos were all being reported. The public couldn't get enough of this. It was sort of the darker side of Hollywood.
Confidential's formula heralded the style of today's tabloids. Rumor-ridden text that bordered on obscenity. Eye-catching headlines. Occasional articles that claimed to help the reader. Doomsday warnings about the nightmares of the 50s. And always the most unflattering photos money could buy. Naturally, they couldn't keep it on the shelves. Soon, Confidential would spawn an assortment of imitators, and everyone was reading them, whether they admitted it or not.
Will sex ruin Rooney? What are Mickey's chances to live down a colorful past? That's ridiculous. Will the cockiest guy in Hollywood learn to behave in TV? Well, that's when I had hair. They'd have me with girls that I didn't know. It was very disconcerting to have those things written about you.
The publicity department was certainly not happy that these stories were coming out, because one of the duties of the publicity department was to protect your stars.
Because of Confidential and its imitators, movie stars had become moving targets. The queens of the Hollywood jungle suddenly seemed like dinosaurs. By the early 60s, the two Jurassic journalists had become relics of an earlier, more unsophisticated age.
They were not powerful anymore, and they were like remnants. They had no power. Their teeth had been pulled.
I was a columnist with a major newspaper, and so I could see the treatment that they get. You're invited to every party, to every opening, to wherever you want to go. You're the toast of the town. But when you lose that job, you're gone.
Gone, too, was Hollywood's age of innocence. But in the late 50s, the stars would seek revenge on the spiteful little tabloid that had permanently dulled their glitter. When Gossip Tabloid Tales returns, Hollywood gears up for its trial of the decade. Gossip Tabloid Tales will return here on A&E.
Medical studies suggest the cranberry juice cocktail with 27% cranberry juice provides you with important health benefits. If you prefer the taste of a blend but still want the health benefits of cranberry, look to Northland. All Northland blends have 100% juice, 27% of it cranberry. Northland says it on the label. No one else can say that. Others like Ocean Spray don't. Their cranberry juice content can be as little as 6%. Northland, always 100% juice and 27% of it cranberry.
I have worked since I was 16. I had all these investments and money in the bank, but I felt like I didn't know where I was going. I have a 10-year-old, so I also have to protect her future. My goal was to protect what I have, but at the same time, make it grow. Now I know where I'm going. My advisor is always there when I need him.
How's that make you feel?
Oh, I feel comfortable. I can sleep well at night.
White after Labor Day. Who wears white after Labor Day?
Well, that was once considered a fashion faux pas. Now you can wear white any time of the year.
Want expert advice whenever you need it? Come to Office Depot, where our people listen, understand, and help.
How can I get organized?
With the new generation of handhelds, you can manage multiple... It'd be nice if everything was like that. Office Depot. What you need to know.
I believe it is in our nature to explore, to reach out into the unknown.
I will lead my battalion into the Argonne, but I doubt if you'll see me or my men again.
I could never care for anything in the world as I care for you.
The only reason she married you was because I was too poor and she was tired of waiting.
What if I could make a timepiece that could be taken to sea? Impossible. Doesn't work. It does work. I'll build it.
I doubt if you'd know the truth if you heard it.
I love you now, isn't that enough?
The representatives of our nation are in mortal danger.
You could have stopped it.
No one could have stopped you.
I'd sacrifice everything for just one kiss.
And if you fail, I will not fail!
Diabetes. It's no joke at all. And Louisiana one night, paramedics came sticking me, to test my blood sugar. I got to be punching my fingers, and this is all I got. These 10 here, this is it. I'm leaving the pain behind me.
One Touch Ultra requires less blood, so you can test on your arm where it's less painful. The One Touch Ultra.
I've been waiting for this for 10 years.
Use MSN to get online. Use it to find a golf school for your husband. And instant message the boys at soccer camp. Use it to find just the right mood music. Then send out an email. Ladies' night is on. Want an internet service you can really use? MSN has Microsoft technology, so it's more useful and a great alternative to AOL.
Gossip, tabloid tales now returns here on A&E. By the mid-1950s, every issue of Confidential magazine was selling nearly 4 million copies. Publisher Robert Harrison's sizzling exposés had turned the heat up on Hollywood. And to a country as gullible as 1950s America, it hardly mattered whether or not the stories were true.
I couldn't believe that I was in Confidential magazine. They had me on the cover winking and said Eddie and the 3 Chippies. And it was not true.
They carried all this stuff about Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr., and that was a true story. You know, she was warned to break off her romance with him or she might be killed.
Many stars tried to ignore the innuendo, but some brokered dirty deals. When it was discovered that Confidential was going to expose the truth about superstar Rock Hudson's homosexuality, his studio begged the magazine to take another story in exchange. Thus, while America learned that actor Rory Calhoun was an ex-con, they were also fed the story that Rock Hudson had suddenly married his agent's secretary. Studios and stars alike wanted to stop Confidential. Ironically, the magazine brought about its own demise by attacking a star whose hatred of the press reached epic proportions, Frank Sinatra.
The straw that sort of broke the camel's back was a story that ran in Confidential about a raid that Joe DiMaggio and Frank Sinatra had on Marilyn Monroe.
DiMaggio thought he'd catch ex-wife Marilyn with another man, but he and his pal Sinatra broke into the wrong apartment. Confidential printed all the details.
Frank Sinatra was very politically connected, got all of his buddies together, all of his political friends and celebrity friends, and they got California to bring charges against Confidential. Conspiracy to commit criminal libel.
In 1957, the Attorney General of California filed charges against a Los Angeles company Harrison had set up to find dirt for his magazine. Named in the suit were Harrison's niece, Marjorie Meade, and her husband, Fred. But Harrison himself escaped the charges.
Bob Harrison didn't appear at the trial because they apparently forgot to read the New York extradition statute that says nobody can be extradited on a charge of criminal libel.
Harrison would monitor the trial of the decade from the comfort of his luxurious New York apartment.
The owner of Confidential, Robert Harrison, couldn't have been happier. He said, this is going to be a publicity gold mine. This is going to be great. I'm going to march up everybody who I've ever written about, put them on the stand, and they're going to have to admit that everything I wrote about them was true. And it was the biggest names in Hollywood. And then a funny thing happened. Hollywood completely cleared out.
It looked like the Exodus from Egypt. They were going to Hawaii, Mexico City, and everything else to avoid being served with a subpoena.
Stars who had been vilified by Confidential, the same ones who longed to see it put out of business, seemed to have decided that playing witness for the prosecution was too risky a role. But as the trial got underway, other witnesses started disappearing permanently. A detective with juicy details about Joan Crawford's sex life died of an overdose the night before testifying. One of Mae West's former lovers who told all about Mae's open door policy drowned in his bathtub. Then the prosecution situation got even worse. A prostitute named Ronnie Quillen was supposed to expose the shady character of the magazine's sources. But when Quillen testified that she had sold Confidential her customer list filled with some of Hollywood's biggest names, it was the prosecution who began to look sleazy. Particularly when Quillen named America's favorite TV husband as one of her regular clients. As Robert Harrison had hoped, the only ones feeling the trial's sting were the stars. One of the few Hollywood stars willing to testify against Confidential was fiery Irish actress Maureen O'Hara.
One of the top stories of the Confidential trial was the Maureen O'Hara story. Confidential printed that Maureen O'Hara and a Latin lover had had a romantic rendezvous in the balcony of Grauman's Chinese Theater that was so hot that the screen melted. Now, Maureen O'Hara was married at the time and also had an image of being a pure, dignified Irish lady. This did not jibe with this terrible, scandalous story.
I am the mother of a 12-year-old growing and healthy child, and it shocks me to realize the availability of this magazine and this type of literature on practically every newsstand in the United States. I hope this investigation really puts these magazines out of business. Thank you.
Another star to testify against Confidential was Liberace. Somehow, flamboyant entertainer Liberace had managed to conceal his homosexuality from his adoring public for well over a decade, even in the face of speculation and innuendo by the press. Apparently, Liberace's best defense was a good offense.
Right after my testimony before the grand jury, I am going to file a $25 million libel suit for the scandalous article in the current issue of Confidential magazine.
The trial reached new heights of absurdity when one of Confidential's classic stories was read into the record.
When Frankie made his fourth visit to the Wheaties bin, the gal began to cross her fingers. Something she was sure was going to explode.
The courtroom broke out in horrendous laughter because basically the theme of the story was that Frank had a date with this lady. Every time they had sex, Frank would go out and eat a bowl of Wheaties for breakfast at Champions. The jury was laughing right along with the audience.
Though the jury deliberated for 13 days, a record at that time, they returned only to report that they were hopelessly deadlocked.
The upshot of it was all the charges against all of the individuals, the Meads and everybody, were dismissed.
In addition, Harrison settled with Liberace for $40,000.
However, there is no price that can be placed on a person's reputation.
The actual outcome occurred behind closed doors. Harrison paid some money. The Meads were slapped on the wrist. And he more or less agreed to tone down Confidential's editorial policy.
The new Confidential published only flattering stories about the stars. Within months, its circulation plummeted.
It was a turning point for gossip because for years afterwards, nobody touched gossip. It was just too hot to handle.
Hollywood had won this round of the tabloid tug-of-war, and the image makers went back to business as usual. But as the frightening 50s gave way to the kingdom of Camelot, America would discover a new form of tabloid terrorism, one that would prey upon a new generation of inquiring minds. We'll be back with more gossip, tabloid tales.
Over the years, I've learned that when something works, you stick with it. There you go. After bypass surgery a few years ago, I needed to lower my cholesterol. My doctor told me about Zocor. He said Zocor, along with a healthy diet and exercise, could really lower my cholesterol. Okay, let's do it again. Taking Zocor every day has kept my cholesterol where it should be and significantly reduces the risk of heart attack among people with high cholesterol and heart disease. That's something to feel good about.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience and about any medicines you are taking.
When diet and exercise aren't enough, ask your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
On the next 100 Center Street,
They charged the homeless man with manslaughter.
the DA's hot to prosecute.
He did not call 911. He started a fire. He did not look for help. It was a mistake.
Now can they restore the tainted vision
You can't let this man go to prison.
of blind justice? On 100 Center Street, an all-new episode, tomorrow on A&E.
I'd like to buy you a delicious lunch or dinner. I'm Earl Schlossberg. I'm president of Earl & Associates, and this is my partner, Andrew Dennis.
Every month we put on several lunch and dinner meetings in our seminar theater in Largo.
They're absolutely free, and you get a sumptuous gourmet meal. Nothing is ever sold at these seminars. You'll learn many ways to cut your taxes.
Everything that they have done for us has been very, very good.
How to avoid probate.
How variable annuities can really work for you, something many other brokers won't even tell you about.
He's honest, and anything he tells you is 100%.
I have every bit of confidence in Mr. Schlossberg's advice. The firm has done a great job for me.
We promise you the most informative and entertaining seminar that you have ever attended. If you're not satisfied with your current broker or planner, do come to see our seminar.
I want to say goodbye to my old investor.
Call now. You'll be glad you did.
We now return to gossip, tabloid tales.
Why do people read the Inquirer? Because, as Howard Stern once put it, you read stuff in the Inquirer, everybody says absolutely couldn't be true. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, boom, it's true.
People love to be romanced by beautiful people doing beautiful things or dirty things. So God bless the Inquirer.
For nearly 50 years, so-called legitimate journalists have challenged the truth of the National Enquirer's juicy items. Ironically, the true history of the paper reads like one of its own stories. Not only was founder Generoso Pope a reclusive and shadowy figure, his paper has been so reviled over the years that few of the early issues exist today.
Generoso Pope is pretty much anonymous to most students of journalism, which is sort of ironic because he was so influential in changing the face of American journalism.
It was 1952, and 25-year-old Generoso Pope, or Gene as he liked to be called, had just purchased a down-and-out newspaper called the New York Enquirer. Pope's credentials for taking on the world of journalism included a wealthy father who owned the largest Italian-language newspaper in New York, an engineering degree from MIT, a brief stint working for the CIA, and some valuable but shady connections.
He was the godson of Frank Costello, who at the time was the #1 mafia capo in the Northeast. Costello definitely contributed to keep the paper afloat during its early struggling years.
And struggle it did. Circulation hovered at a dismal 17,000 as Pope revamped his paper again and again, trying to find the right formula for success.
He changed it into a broad sheet. He changed it into a racing sheet. He was looking for a formula that was different. One day he was in Manhattan. He's walking along the street. He hears a squeal of brakes, crash. It was an accident. He was a squeamish guy, very funny. Publisher of the National Enquirer, couldn't stand the sight of blood. So as he walked away, he saw people running toward the accident. And he thought, my God, gore. They want gore, I'll give them gore. Went back to the office, called a meeting. It was a very famous meeting. He said, we found what we're going to do.
What Pope did was to fill the Enquirer with the most lurid, violent, tasteless stories he could find.
Some of these stories were great stories. They were cheap to get. You just had some guys cover the cop shop, the police station. Slip O'Hanahan, $10, he'd tell you all the lurid stories you wanted to hear.
Within 3 years, circulation hit 250,000. Pope's journalistic instincts may have been unconventional, but they were right on target.
Imitators sprang up around the country. There were a number of other titles that came and went during this period. It was in this way that the Enquirer influenced journalism because it created a whole new genre of publications.
But if Jean Pope had invented a genre, it was one with an apparent ceiling to its circulation.
The circulation had stalled at about 1 million. And Generoso Pope realized that there were only that many truly sicko people. You know, that if he wanted to expand the appeal, he had to bring it up a notch. Maybe just a notch, but he had to somehow broaden the appeal.
The prescient Pope had an eye on a trend. The old mom-and-pop newsstands around the country were fading away. Pope knew he'd soon need a new place to peddle his papers and set his sights on supermarkets. But making the Enquirer America's #1 impulse buy meant that Pope had to completely revise its formula once again. Out went the gore, but with it, nearly 25% of the Enquirer's readers.
When he cleaned up the Enquirer back in about 1967, all the other tabloid publishers were looking at him and scratching their heads and trying to figure out, you know, if he'd lost his mind. Because they thought, who's going to buy a paper that's this squeaky clean, you know? But he knew he had to clean it up to get it accepted by the supermarkets. Pope envisioned having the Enquirer beside every checkout in every major chain supermarket in America. And basically they are today.
Mixed in with these stories about the beheaded babies and the dismembered animals was an occasional story about celebrities. And he realized that those had a certain appeal, and he started increasing the celebrity quotient.
In 1969, Pope put a very negative story about Jackie on the cover of the Enquirer, and he discovered that the sales for that issue jumped by about 30%.
In 1963, Jacqueline Kennedy's role as our most stylish First Lady was transformed into tragic widowhood. But in 1968, she shattered her image of America's best-loved woman by marrying Aristotle Onassis, a Greek shipping tycoon nearly twice her age.
Most of the tabloid readers in those days were middle-aged women who were very conservative in their political and social beliefs. And Pope knew that these little old ladies in tennis shoes were offended by a lot of the things that were going on.
Suddenly, the same women who'd taken Jackie to their hearts were holding her at arm's length, but they still had the Enquirer in their hands. In 1971, Pope moved his entire operation to Lantana, Florida, where he continued to oversee every aspect of the Enquirer's production.
He shunned the legitimate media. He realized very early on that he was only going to get sneered at by them. And so they sort of went off in Florida and sort of did their own thing and became the largest circulation publication in the country.
In August of 1977, the death of the king of rock and roll cemented the Enquirer's position as the king of the tabloids.
The Elvis Presley death was something that really started to put us into the forefront of the minds of the people we were trying to reach. The rest of the press still treated it kind of like, well, old Elvis has gone to that old hotel in the sky. We didn't treat it like that at all. We treated it like a major news story. In what may be the greatest lapse of taste in the history of American journalism, we put a picture of Elvis Presley dead in his coffin on the front page of the National Enquirer.
When they were after the Elvis story, one of their reporters disguised himself as a priest to try to get in. They went to all of the relatives and just gave them money. Just said, if you decide to talk to somebody, talk to us first. They also bought cameras and just handed them out to anybody who would just take a picture, anybody take a picture.
In those days, you didn't have all the high-tech stuff you do now, so we had to rig this miniature camera, and it was a one-shot deal. Either got it or you didn't. And this was not a professional photographer. We just told him, look, do this, do that, blah, 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 you know. Anyway, he got the picture and got it out of there.
That single issue sold almost 7 million copies. No other single tabloid has ever come close to that.
Journalists, the mainstream journalists, you know, oh, this is shocking, how dare you, how could you? And we said, look, this is a guy who everybody wants that last look at. They all want to be there at that wait before that coffin is closed. Hate wouldn't be a strong enough word for the way the mainstream media felt about us.
By the mid-1970s, Pope had turned the publishing world upside down. The Enquirer circulation topped 3 million, with revenues of over $40 million. But there were troubled times ahead for Pope and his empire. When gossip tabloid tales returns, gossip gets glossier, and the best-loved star in Hollywood takes the Enquirer to court. Gossip tabloid tales will return here on A&E.
I'm not afraid to shine, and I owe it all to Superior Preference by L'Oreal, the translucent fade-resistant hair color. See, Preference Gel seals in true living color, color that won't fade out. That's why the shine really lasts, with 6 weeks of Super Shine conditioning. How brilliant is that? So wave bye-bye to Brassy, so long to Mousy, and say hello to a lot more shining moments. Superior Preference by L'Oreal Paris. Fade-resistant color that shines, because you're worth it.
I'm gonna be late for my own wedding. No worries. My new Subaru Outback's more stable in a turn than a Lexus RX 300. Gets better gas mileage than a Ford Explorer. And like every Subaru, has the added traction of all-wheel drive.
Subaru Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
The rugged outdoorsy type. Nice choice.
Now you can get an APR as low as 2.9% on all 2002 Outback models.
What if you could return your cat back to a healthy weight? Feed her Imes weight control formula in the blue bag. It helps gradually reduce her weight by managing the blood sugar level, which could add years of splendid health to her life. Imes, good for today, good for tomorrow, good for life. Imes weight control is now also available with hairball care.
Frank Gifford, Vince Lombardi, Walter Payton, Joe Montana, and Joe Namath. NFL Greats Week on Biography. All this week on A&E. On the next 100 Center Street.
They charged the homeless man with manslaughter.
The DA's hot to prosecute.
He did not call 911. He started a fire. He did not look for help. It was a mistake.
Now can they restore the tainted vision?
Can't let this man go to prison.
Of blind justice. On 100 Center Street, an all-new episode. Tomorrow on A&E. On the next investigative report, special edition, 2 teams.
I've been raised to play football and win state championships.
Worlds apart.
I pray every night just to make sure I wake up the next morning.
Go for the glory.
I've never been proud of a football team.
And a better life.
I'm trying to go to college. I'm trying to become an engineer.
Young gladiators and their field of dreams.
I'll keep giving till I can't give no more.
Inside high school football, an all-new 2-hour investigative report special edition. Friday at 9, 8 Central on A&E.
So warm. So ancient. So free. And so close. Come and discover a world of possibilities. Mexico, closer than ever. Mazatlan, get closer.
You know, we sing for millions of girls, but helping out in schools, that's the real deal, baby. I know our love can multiply.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying?
Have you ever been backstage before?
Cause you're the exit. I think you'll find that gravity is key in what I do.
Once was one, but now we're two. I'm sitting at it. Oh.
We now return to gossip, tabloid tales. By the mid-1970s, a new generation of scandal sheets took center stage. Their roots stretched back to the 1950s and the tattletale gossip of Confidential magazine.
I remember the objections to the Enquirer and the Star and everything were the same as the ones had been to Confidential. But American life was changing.
But in all those changes, one thing remained the same: the war between the tabloids and the celebrities who'd been slighted by them.
A lot of times, a big-name celebrity, a Hollywood personality, will threaten to sue, but never actually gets around to it, you know. And they get quoted in some other publication as saying, I'm going to sue the Enquirer, you know, for $100 million because they ran this story about me. And it's just all talk.
Finally, one star stepped up to the plate, and it was Carol Burnett, who was sort of seen as above reproach. An article had been written about her. It was actually a very short item that sort of suggested that she was a little drunk and out of control in a Washington, D.C. restaurant.
It wasn't one of these, you know, screaming headlines. It was just a two-line item in a gossip column that said, basically, that Carol Burnett had gotten drunk and had insulted former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger at this Tony Washington restaurant.
What it was a little item about this big. And it said a boisterous, and this is the word that the whole thing hung on, a boisterous Carol Burnett was in the Rive Gauche restaurant, and she was going around giving diners bites of her Grand Marnier soufflé dessert.
Whatever the article's precise meaning, Burnett took the Enquirer to court in 1976. Like the lawsuits filed against Confidential in the 1950s, Burnett's libel case pitted a beloved star against a tabloid. But in an ironic twist of fate, one of Burnett's biggest allies would be a rival magazine which took the scandal sheets to a new and more reader-friendly level. It was called People, and it debuted in 1974.
Dick Stolley, who was the launching editor for People, realized that if you're going to sell this stuff, you've got to package it in the veneer of respectability, upscale, classiness. So the original dummy for People magazine looked like what he said. It looked like a whorehouse magazine.
It looks like the whorehouse news was the term I believe I used at the time. We knew this magazine was going to be dealing in news as amazing as it may seem today, that no magazine was giving you back then. The tabloids were doing two-headed aliens, and nobody was doing intimate reporting on prominent people.
People was the brainchild of the venerated Time Life Corporation and was carefully designed, packed cover to cover with light-hearted and, critics felt, lightweight celebrity reporting.
There were two or three things that I insisted People do at the beginning in its stories. One is I always wanted people's ages. I don't care what we had to do to get them. And in the case of Zsa Zsa Gabor, we had to go to the Budapest City Hall to get her birth certificate. I always wanted the names of pets. What people name pets is very interesting insight into the relationships with themselves and family members and all the rest. And the third was I do not want the word gossip ever to appear in this magazine, and it did not.
People magazine came onto the scene, and what the stars realized is the way to knock the legs out from under the tabloids is to get out the favorable story, to get out your side of the story, or to get the story out with your spin on it.
In contrast to the Enquirer, People featured a celebrity-friendly style of reporting. In 1979, as her libel case against the Enquirer dragged on, Carol Burnett agreed to cooperate with People on a controversial article.
We knew and had reported on problems one of her daughters was having with drugs. We approached Carol Burnett to see if she would like to talk about it as a kind of cautionary tale for other parents. She did talk about it, I think in amazing and sympathetic detail. And it again established People as the place that would deal sympathetically but fully with celebrities' emotional and familial problems.
Less than 2 years later, in March of 1981, a jury awarded Burnett $1.6 million in damages from the National Enquirer.
And later, as you see, people remember what happened, but what they don't remember is under the appeal, that big award that they gave Carol Burnett was knocked down to almost nothing.
If they had given me $1 plus car fare, I would have been happy because it was the whole principle of what's been going on.
Could you reiterate that principle for us?
Truth. The principle is truth.
But do you think that
and not reckless disregard for the truth.
I am telling you that this item said a boisterous Carol Burnett, and she claimed that that meant she was drunk. Now, I'm sorry, Carol Burnett and I will say it again at the risk of being sued all over again, Carol Burnett has been known to be boisterous, meaning loud and attention-getting, and that's what the item meant. That's what it really meant.
What the Burnett lawsuit ultimately meant was that from that point on, the tabloids would have to lawyer-proof their stories by cross-examining sources and triple-checking facts. It also gave readers a kinder, gentler alternative to the old-fashioned gutter gossip of the tabloids.
It makes the readers more sympathetic, it makes the stars more sympathetic, and it puts the tabloids, like the National Enquirer, as sort of the dirty, nasty outsiders.
Tabloids are publications that sensationalize every story. They're always looking for the most sensational angle there is. Lots of cleavage here.
Lots of cleavage.
With people, what our readers prefer and like about us is that we're not judgmental. We're not here to print rumors. We're not here to out people. We're not here to print third-rate hearsay. And we're not here to pay people for tidbits that may or may not have happened.
As the editor of our paper once said, he said, People magazine is the National Enquirer a week late. You know, that's not to knock People magazine. We're very happy that they have seen fit to follow in our illustrious footsteps, if you will.
When People is accused of being a tabloid, I just say, I don't say no contest, I said absolutely not guilty.
Today, People nestles in the newsstand not far from the tabloids. How far apart they are editorially is up to the reader to decide. When Gossip Tabloid Tales returns, an inside look at the paparazzi. We'll be back with more Gossip Tabloid Tales.
My hands speak to me. They tell me secrets. They tell me of time and patience. At least, that is what my hands say. The all-new Lexus ES 300. A new world of luxury.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go right now. Gotta go, gotta go.
I have to go now.
If an overactive bladder makes you go and go and go, go to your doctor and ask about Detrol LA.
Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Just one daily dose works for 24 hours to help control bladder contractions that cause those sudden urges and reduces accidents and bathroom visits.
Right now? Hey, I don't have to go.
Prescription Detrol LA. Individual results may vary. You shouldn't take it if you have certain kinds of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache. Call now for free information and a money-saving offer.
And I don't have to go right now.
Ask your doctor about Detrol LA for overactive bladder when you've always got to go.
An A&E Newsweek investigation.
We can talk all the science we want. It's medical cannibalism.
Cloning.
We need to get a handle on it.
A medical breakthrough.
Mention the word cloning and people are frightened.
A moral dilemma.
Is it a person or is it a piece of property?
On an all-new investigative reports. Next Monday at 10, 9 Central on A&E.
Are you ready for high-speed internet access? Introducing AOL High-Speed Broadband, now available with Time Warner Cable.
We're talking fast. Click, you're there.
Everything you love about America Online. Email, instant messages, parental controls, now even faster.
I get connected in an instant.
Get your favorite music, videos, and games at lightning speed.
I can be on AOL and on the phone at the same time.
As easy and as fast as it gets. Welcome.
It's the fastest I've ever seen.
Call toll-free 1-866-718-7907 now to get AOL high-speed broadband or go to AOL keyword cable. Operators are standing by.
It's faster than you could ever imagine.
Not just broadband, AOL high-speed broadband.
I am so ready. What are you waiting for?
America Online, now at high speed. Call toll-free 1-866-718-7907 or go to America Online keyword cable. Call today and get free installation, free activation, and a free modem to use. America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Gossip, tabloid tales, now returns.
Paparazzi is an aggressive style of photography, and that's probably an understatement.
Russell Turiak is a 30-year veteran of celebrity photography.
Julia Roberts?
He refers to his work as paparazzi photo art.
I feel that what I do is give and take. I take photographs, I give publicity.
But Turiak doesn't always strike these gracious bargains with his quarry's consent. From stakeouts to ambushes, his tactics reflect the guerrilla warfare of today's professional paparazzi.
Job now, a lot of times I'll be walking around right in front of the subjects that I'm going to photograph, and I'm walking around with this bag on my shoulder. Not like one of these guys that has a photo vest with a light meter and 3 or 4 cameras dangling on them. They're like, they're standing there screaming, paparazzi on the job. Somebody will look at me and I'm just like a doofy guy with a beach bag on my shoulder. And then as soon as they turn the other way, next time they turn around, again, I got them before they can even react. Even if it's one frame, sometimes that's all you need.
That single frame can fetch up to 6 figures. Another reason stars resent the paparazzi. But not every celebrity is a victim. Some, like Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and her family, learned to be savvy and pragmatic about unwanted press.
One time at Caroline's graduation, I said, well, I just found out that your mother is here, and I never photographed you and your mother together. So she said, if I stand, she wouldn't say pose. If I stand with my mother, will you get lost? And I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. She knew to make a deal. She was okay, she was fine, she was cool. She walks over and stands next to her grandmother, and then Jackie took one step to the left, and the 3 of them now stood together, the 3 generations, and I went, bing, 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 thank you very much, before these dozen guys all went. And I sent her photos, and I have a thank you note from Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis.
Onassis was not the only celebrity who could manipulate the media. In the 1980s, Lady Diana Spencer became the Princess of Wales and the undisputed queen of the tabloids.
Princess Diana was on People's cover more than 50 times, far more than any other human being. She was like a movie star with a tiara.
Diane once said of herself that she was thick as a brick, but when it came to media manipulation, she was an absolute genius. There was nobody in my life, certainly, who understood not only the power of media, but how to use it.
In some cases, she almost stalked them. I mean, she would put herself in a position where she would invite coverage.
She was also smart to keep it all behind the scenes, because it would have been very, very unseemly if she'd been out there granting interviews. In fact, whenever the press was around, she was seen running away from them, doing the whole shy die thing, looking up, looking down.
Diana played the press like a piano.
Thanks to the imagery provided by the tabloids, the public could enjoy a vicarious love affair with an ethereal people's princess. But love affairs were not the tabloids' only stock in trade. In 1994, they fell back on one of their other, more traditional topics, murder.
Dr. Henry Lee. One of the manifestations of what we're talking about in this celebrity-oriented society and the clash of entertainment, or the melding of infotainment and news and all, was the O.J. Simpson trial, which became, I guess, America's greatest media overkill since the Lindbergh kidnapping.
You couldn't have invented a better cast of characters, from the judge through the lawyers to the defendant. If this had happened in ancient Greece, there have been people out there writing on stone tablets instead of doing it on television.
And if the public was fascinated by the media coverage, so were the people being covered.
It was a high. Oh my God, that's me. And then I start looking at it as more of a seeing myself going, yeah, you need a haircut. Oh my God, that mole is huge, and all that stuff.
In addition to giving Kato Kalin his 15 minutes of fame, Tabloids like the National Enquirer were putting their years of no-holds-barred reporting to good use and doing what no one could deny was top-notch investigative journalism.
David Margolick, I guess it was, of the New York Times, wrote, "The National Enquirer is the Bible of the O.J. Simpson case."
The tabloids did really groundbreaking reportorial work. There's no question about that. Now, how did they get the news? Did they pay for it? In most cases, yes, they did.
I was approached the very first day of my testimony by my lawyer. Said the National Enquirer called to give this is the first day $50,000, and I said no. And then 50 went to 100 to all the way to 250, which is $250,000, and that's a lot of cash. I said no to that. I didn't take any monies from tabloids.
Kalin might not have made money, but the tabloids certainly did. In addition, they gained a new stature in the world of journalism.
Carl Bernstein was on the Charlie Rose show with myself and a guy called Mike Walker. Now, this is Carl Bernstein of Bernstein, Woodward and Bernstein.
Who, by the way, made it very clear he wasn't interested in the sort of, trashy kind of journalism that we indulged in. But he said to Charlie Rose, but you know what? You know why these guys are so successful? I'll tell you why. And I was bated breath. I'm waiting for Carl Bernstein, to tell me why I'm so successful.
And he said, rather generously actually, pointing to myself and Mike Walker, he said, these guys work harder at what they do than we work at what we do.
And he was right.
For nearly 2 years, the O.J. trial was front-page news. But as for the cast of characters whose faces were plastered across the tabloids week after week, their lives would never be the same.
And looking back on everything that happened in my life the last 7 years, I wish I had more wisdom in knowing how the tabloids could really change a person's life, how paparazzi, how I believe being the person I am, that I really like people, that I believe that what they were telling me was truth, and that the right thing was going to come out in a story.
Furor caused Diana's death. The effect was the same. The 1990s ended with a somber reminder of the price of fame. Gossip Tabloid Tales will return here on A&E.
Medical studies suggest the cranberry juice cocktail with 27% cranberry juice provides you with important health benefits. If you prefer the taste of a blend but still want the health benefits of cranberry, look to Northland. All Northland blends have 100% juice, 27% of it cranberry. Northland says it on the label. No one else can say that. Others like Ocean Spray don't. Their cranberry juice content can be as little as 6%. Northland, always 100% juice and 27% of it cranberry.
All right, boys, last card.
I'm gonna raise you $1.
You must have something, boys.
Just $1. Hey, don't you know about 10-10-220? What?
Yeah, man, 10-10-220. All calls up to 20 minutes, 99 cents.
And 7 cents a minute after that.
All calls up to 20 minutes, 99 cents? See, $1 is worth a lot. I'm out.
Me too. I call you.
Do you have any 5s?
Go fish.
Dial 10-10-220.
Use MSN to get online. Use it to plan a fishing trip. Use it to buy a graphite fishing rod. and hand-tied flies. And searching for basic fishing techniques might be really useful too. Want an internet service you can really use? MSN from Microsoft is the great alternative to AOL. MSN, more useful every day.
Let the sun shine for me. Thank you. I love to sing. You know, the other day, a young kid came up to me and said, "Hey, Tony, what do you need to make it in show business?" And I tell them, you have to have a really big head.
Short shorts. Call your cable or satellite provider to get the Biography channel, now available in Canada.
It's open house time at your local Miracle Ear Hearing Aid Center, and that means savings up to $1,000 on select digital hearing systems. Experience the clarity of digital hearing aids with this exceptional limited-time offer that speaks loud and clear. This offer can't last forever, so check your yellow pages or visit any of our 1,000 Miracle Ear locations nationwide, including many in Sears stores. But do it today. This sale ends February 25th.
Gossip, tabloid tales, now returns. When the New York Post first went to press in 1801, its illustrious founders could never have known it would become the oldest continuously published daily newspaper in the country. But they might be dismayed to learn that the Post is one of America's leading daily tabloids.
If you listen to people in our business, they're always wringing their hands about papers like the New York Post. We've never really worried about our reputation within the rest of the industry.
7 days a week, the Post rolls off the presses filled with the usual tabloid fare of hard-hitting headlines and raw-knuckled reporting. But perhaps the most popular feature is the gossip column, known to readers as Page 6.
Page 6 is the premier gossip column in America, and possibly the world. It's been described as such by the Wall Street Journal, in fact. Our premise is that gossip is news. It's just sort of news that other papers aren't interested in reporting. You know, the New York Times is not interested in the sex lives of celebrities, but we are.
The New York Post is so committed to its role as gourmet gossip that it offers a banquet of not one but 4 different columnists. Venerable Liz Smith has been dishing dirt the longest.
I haven't the vaguest idea what a nice, clean-cut, Baptist-raised Texan is doing in the world of gossip. I just lucked into it, I guess. I like them. I love the tabloids.
Searching for gossip is like sifting for gold, and the Post is only interested in 24-carat nuggets. But separating hearsay from fact can put the paper on the knife edge of legality.
Well, the main thing you want to avoid is being sued, and so that tends to keep us as accurate as possible. We make a lot of phone calls, and we talk to people who were there.
Nothing at 632 Broadway?
Somebody says something happened, I say, well, tell me exactly what happened. And then you take that down. Who else saw it, and you try to get as many sources as possible.
Okay, thanks anyway.
There's some people like Liz and Richard Johnson who stay in their office more than I did. I don't know how gossip columnists do it by staying in their office. They're actually smarter, because I burned out in 5 years. 5 years in a gossip columnist's life is like 10 years in a regular person's life. You've got to go out all night long and press a lot of hands and be with a lot of people. You can't go home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night because you're tired. That don't work in gossip. You got to stay out late. The later you stay out, people's lips loosen up. What somebody won't tell you at 1 o'clock in the morning, they will scream at you at 4 o'clock at night.
Did you hear that? Gray has been indicted.
Whether club hopping or speed dialing, good columnists have got to have inside contacts. But the gossip game doesn't always mean hunting for hearsay. Sometimes items appear all by themselves and from some unlikely sources.
What America doesn't understand, they think gossip columnists by and large are nerdy people who sit in their desk and write about, guess who's sleeping with so-and-so. It ain't that way. The very same people stars hire to protect, be them publicists or managers or agents, are the very same people who pick the phone up and used to call people like me.
I have been in pubs, I won't mention names, I have been in pubs where guys have come and pleaded with me to get a paragraph in page 6, and I'd say, you don't have much of a story, I'm sorry, pleaded with me to get a paragraph. And of course, years later, they'd become superstars, and they'd say, oh, I never give interviews.
Stars might not give interviews, but they have been known to give grief to the columnists who write about them.
A lot of times when you meet a celebrity, it's not very pleasant. Like, I ran into Madonna a couple of years ago, and I said, oh, I'm such a big fan. She goes, well, why don't you write something nice then? I ran into Gwyneth Paltrow, and she'd been on again, off again with Ben Affleck. And I guess we'd had a blind item that maybe she thought had referred to him or something. But I said, so are you and Ben still together? She goes, well, according to you, he's gay. Like, this stuff like this happens, it's like, go,
Sean Connery once said he would like to stick my column up my ass, and I said, well, that's the best offer I've had this week. And he hung up on me. I've never seen him again. I'm terrified if I ever see him again.
Steven Seagal was basically threatening to try to kick my ass. You know, he goes like, I don't understand why every time you write something about me, it's 100% wrong. And that was how he started. It went on from there.
It goes beyond that. You know, Nation of Islam threatened my life. Jewish Defense League has threatened my life. But, you know, my God, the Hells Angels beat me up. I don't think Liz Smith ever got smacked in the mouth like that.
I'm threatened every day. Yesterday, I was threatened. A public relations guy screamed and carried on, and he was going to have me killed, and certainly sued for libel at the very least because he hadn't said this. And I said, I know you said it. I said, I'll tell you what, as a courtesy to you, I'll take it out of the column, but I know you said it. I said, you should be more careful what you say about your clients.
Russell, get on the end, please. Right here on the end, Russell.
If these people who claw, scream, yell, kick, and bite to make their $20 million movies, if they think that they still should have privacy, then I hope they think again before they're only making $20 off residuals and then come begging for celebrity and publicity.
You look incredible.
Steve, is the indictment exclusive?
The Post is much more than a scandal sheet. It tackles political issues with an in-your-face New York attitude. The sports reporting is unsurpassed. But critics say that the Post's lowest common denominator approach to the news often dips below sea level.
I think our sensationalism has been sensationalized by our critics. It doesn't exist. Every day we fight a battle for the hearts and minds and the eyeballs of readers, and they go up to a newsstand and they see a pile of New York Posts and then a pile of other newspapers. Our job is to make sure that they reach down and pick from our pile.
The New York Post's most potent weapon in the newsstand wars is the paper's eye-catching headlines.
Our headlines are probably known throughout the world. And there is an art to it, and you don't come by it like that.
Yeah, Barry, the story on the suicide bomber, is that ready yet?
Some of our headline writers, I think they're just this side of genius.
Let's just say, pizza parlor bomber. I mean, everybody will know the story, but no one will have seen this photo. We've got to grab them on the way to work. We've got to grab them when they get off the subway or off the train or while they're out on their lunch hour. So we know we have to project, the story of the day in a very bold fashion. That's great. Now just sink this down. Do it. When you walk down the streets of New York tomorrow, you will be able to see that on the newsstand.
You study the story and you look very, very closely at the English language and how can that English language be truncated and get across the message accurately without taking up 20 words of a headline. Say, headless body and topless bar. Should it have been decapitated cerebellum in house of ill repute? A lot of us out there in the city room, everyone from the editor on down, we take our job very seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously.
When gossip tabloid tales returns, the tabloids tackle the president. We'll be back with more gossip, tabloid tales.
Australia. It's our smiling faces, our friendly nature, our welcoming wonders, and our irresistible deals. Right now, we've got heaps of 2-week vacations starting from under $2,000 on Australia.com. So pick one. We can't wait to say good day.
It seems like only yesterday. When I started skating at 8 years old, I never thought I'd experience the thrill of winning a medal. With all the great memories has come another thing I thought I'd never experience, the pain of osteoarthritis.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for osteoarthritis pain. With one little pill a day, Vioxx can provide powerful 24-hour relief. Vioxx specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, talk to your doctor about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain.
Perhaps my biggest victory is to be able to plan my day around my life instead of my pain.
Ask your doctor if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx for everyday victories.
When apartheid stood in our path,
we overcame it to build our own future.
Now AIDS threatens South Africa's future.
Half of all children under 15 will die
unless something is done.
So we are doing it. We call it Love Life.
It's about love.
It's about health. And it's about life.
You can help fight AIDS in South Africa. To find out how, go to netaid.org.
On the next investigative report, special edition, 2 teams.
I've been raised to play football and win state championships.
Worlds apart.
I pray every night just to make sure I wake up the next morning.
Go for the glory.
I've never been proud of a football team.
And a better life.
I'm trying to go to college. I'm trying to become an engineer.
Young gladiators and their field of dreams.
I'll keep giving till I can't give no more.
Inside high school football, an all-new 2-hour investigative report special edition. Friday at 9, 8 Central on A&E.
We now return to gossip, tabloid tales. From instant reporting...
It's great to be part of this evening.
...to the internet, today's scandal sheets boast a whole new range of tools designed to make money off of other people's business.
They make their own garbage, and then they dispose of it when they're through with it.
But how far can it go? A clue to the future of the tabloids can be found by looking at their recent past. In the last 50 years, tabloid topics have graduated from gore to gossip, to the grandest prize of all, the presidency. Presidential peccadillos have shown up in print before. As far back as the 1880s, Grover Cleveland's alleged illegitimate child made headlines. But in the 20th century, there seemed to be an unspoken understanding that kept the president's life private. Journalists turned a blind eye to JFK's many marital infidelities. But all that changed when William Jefferson Clinton rose to power.
Bill Clinton was the best. I loved writing about Bill Clinton. I miss him very much. I wish he was still back there. You know, we had Mick Jagger in the White House for a while. That's what it came down to.
The first bombshell of the presidential sex scandals fell at the height of the 1992 presidential campaign, when Arkansas lounge singer Jennifer Flowers stepped forward to admit she'd had a 12-year affair with candidate Bill Clinton.
It was like my life flashed before my face. I mean, I knew that my life as I had known it was over. Every news organization and media organization were on my lawn. They were knocking at my door every 5 minutes. I was literally having to sneak out to go to the grocery store, go to the cleaners, and do things that everyone else takes for granted. It is a feeding frenzy. And can you just imagine what it feels like to be in the middle of that feeding frenzy? No, you can't imagine it. Unless you're in the eye of the hurricane, You will never know how it feels.
Bill Clinton's
But if Flowers was caught in a feeding frenzy, she managed to grab a large piece of the pie. In January 1992, she revealed her affair with Bill Clinton by giving the story to The Star, a supermarket tabloid, in return for $150,000.
I didn't ever consider it selling out. What I considered it was that I took remuneration for a true story that a magazine was going to sell and make money from.
At the end of the day, we think that's money well spent. We don't think that's checkbook journalism. Remember that archaic phrase? You haven't heard it in years, have you? Remember, checkbook journalism.
There's a lot of hypocrisy out there. I think that the mainstream media uses people right and left.
I used to go on national television and talk about the Today Show and all of these people who were also paying off people, but they just did it in different ways.
I found that they are some of the least ethical, with the least integrity. And trust me, I have a PhD in this by now.
Less than 6 years later, journalistic lightning struck in the same place, and the explosion further blurred the line between tabloid and mainstream journalism. Veteran Newsweek reporter Michael Isikoff spent 6 months uncovering the story of Bill Clinton's affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky.
I don't think that I had any inkling of just how big a story it was until after it broke.
But adhering to the ethics of mainstream journalism, Newsweek wouldn't break the story until they had absolutely verified it.
One of the senior editors at Newsweek said, can we really publish a story that could lead to the impeachment of the president if we haven't yet checked A, B, C, and D? And I remember when I first heard the word impeachment, I looked at one of my colleagues, Danny Kleinman, and we both kind of rolled our eyes. Impeachment, what is he talking about? We just viewed this as a good story.
Where Newsweek hesitated, Matt Drudge did not. Drudge was the eccentric 30-year-old author of an internet gossip site called The Drudge Report. The day after Newsweek decided to wait, he posted the story.
I was terrified because from my Hollywood apartment, a story of this magnitude was being born. I remember I teared up when I hit the enter button on that one that night because I said, my life won't be the same after this, and it turned out to be right.
This guy who had no college education, sitting in a one-bedroom apartment in Hollywood with a beat-up old laptop, is beating all of these legitimate news organizations at the biggest story in the country.
I think I called him an internet scavenger, and that's what he was. He didn't really do any of his own reporting, but he sort of picked up on what other people were reporting and tried to scoop people on their own stories.
You know what how the magpie steals the bright object out of the other nest and takes it? That's what he is. I don't see that he originates too much, but he's a great little old magpie.
I don't consider myself an enemy of the press whatsoever, but I do consider myself to be an untrained D student who happened to get lucky, but who happens to know a few things, and then now has the ability to shout down the street, extra, extra, this just in.
So, by the end of the 1990s, one presidential sex scandal had enriched its source. The other had established the internet as a hot venue for cyber scandal. But, critics wondered, hadn't both disgraced the highest office in the land?
I don't think we could walk away from the sensationalism, if you wish to use that word, of Monica Lewinsky. I mean, here we have a president of the United States, and the world knows the facts. I mean, how do you write that? Other than, gee, folks, you're not going to believe this.
We got some mileage out of the whole Monica Lewinsky thing because we started referring to her as the portly pepper pot.
So now they've made Monica Lewinsky a star, or certainly a semi-star.
I would say to anyone out there that thinks it looks real fun and cute, no, yeah, I want to be famous like that, don't ever do it. I mean, if you have a choice, don't choose it. What is fame without dignity?
From Fatty Arbuckle to Hugh Grant, Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher, to J-Lo and P. Diddy. As the names change, will the scandals remain the same? What can be defined as scandal when readers can no longer be shocked? Will names like Heidi Fleiss and Lizzie Grubman be remembered when their antics no longer impress us? Will the internet become the next faucet of hot and cold running rumor?
I envision a future where there'll be 300 million reporters, where anyone from anywhere can report for any reason.
The internet's a very scary thing, and I don't like it. There's no editor that's been there for 50 years that blows his glasses and looks at that story and says, this doesn't sound right. And you, as a newspaper man, you have to have those people that look at you and say, this don't smell right. And they're almost always right, those people, and you have to listen to them. No one's looking at the internet that way.
I think there is certainly a future for the internet, and thankfully being computer literate, I don't think I'll be involved.
Whether involved in the internet or teased by a tabloid, virtually everyone has at one point or another been affected by the scandal sheets. For 200 years, they've reflected back a gaudy, larger-than-life reality that's changed our language, shaped our values, and given readers a respite from their own lives by exploiting the intimate details of someone else's.
John Alter, the Newsweek columnist, thinks that the tabloids in America are a very important force in democratizing American society, that it is a kind of low common denominator where we can all enjoy this kind of news, that it's the gossip over the back fence, that the tabloids are a force for democracy. I've heard them accused of a lot of things, but never that.
I think the performers are entitled to some kind of freedom from prying eyes at all time. And that's what the tabloids are, prying eyes at all time.
In my opinion, the tabloids are inevitable. You might love them, you might hate them, but there's such an appetite for them. They'll always be here.
Tabloids are fun and dangerous.
Moss, the four-legged life preserver, brought to you by Eukanuba. A family in trouble. Without hesitation, this Newfoundland plunges into the rough waters. Clamping down firmly on a rope, this canine's canines literally deliver the family to safety. For the healthy teeth Moss needs, she eats Eukanuba. Its exclusive dental defense system works during and after meals, helping reduce tartar buildup by up to 55%. Moss certainly pulls her weight around here. Eukanuba, results-oriented nutrition.
Medical studies suggest that cranberry juice cocktail with 27% cranberry juice provides you with important health benefits. If you prefer the taste of a blend, but still want the health benefits of cranberry, look to Northland. All Northland blends have 100% juice, 27% of it cranberry. Northland says it on the label. No one else can say that. Others like Ocean Spray don't. Their cranberry juice content can be as little as 6%. Northland, always 100% juice and 27% of it cranberry.
What the hell's going on out here?
Biography brings you the stories that go beyond the sports page. Frank Gifford, Vince Lombardi, Walter Payton, Joe Montana, and Joe Namath.
Joe Namath was seen almost as the Antichrist.
NFL Greats Week on Biography. All this week on A&E.
There's a power sweeping the nation. People everywhere are getting things done. And it's all thanks to DIY.
I'll just do it myself.
From thought to finish, our easy-to-follow instructions are just a click away.
So, what's next?
When you want something done right, do it yourself with DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
Time Warner Cable, the very best in TV, keeps getting better.
Are you ready for high-speed internet access? Introducing AOL High-Speed Broadband, now available with Time Warner Cable. We're talking fast. Everything you love about America Online. Email, instant messages, parental controls. Click, you're there. Get your favorite music, videos, and games at lightning speed. Not just broadband, AOL High-Speed Broadband. Call toll-free 1-866-718-7907 or go to America Online keyword cable. Call today and get free installation, free activation, and a free modem to use. America Online, so easy to use.